right, so I'm here in San Francisco. Kind of crazy to say, it's my first creator trip. I kind of feel like an imposter at times doing this YouTube thing because I'm just a dude who picked up a camera 4 years ago for fun, and now I'm checking out Galaxy Unpacked. So want to give you huge thanks to Samsung for having me out. Thank you. I guess I'm just a normal tired ass dad who loves making videos, but I got to try out the S26 lineup today, which is kind of wild to say the least. And I definitely apologize for the lighting here because I have to gangster lean next to this window because it's my only light. I didn't pack lights because I don't use lights at home, so I didn't pack any. But I sort of want to talk about my first impressions with the Galaxy S26 lineup and what I had the pleasure of checking out. For reference, the last Galaxy I think I used at all was literally the Galaxy S29 Edge, which launched in like S7 Edge, which came out in like 2016. So yeah, it's coming around to 10 years since I last had a Samsung device in my pocket. So it was pretty awesome to check this out. So take all of my impressions with a grain of salt. I'm also a guy who just uses a dumb phone on the regular. So I'm using, either my 13 mini, which is an old ass iPhone, or a Light Phone 3, or one of many other minimalist phones that people love to hate on me for using, which is wacky. And I also don't buy a new phone every single year. So my impressions of the S26 sort of makes me feel like I'm living in the future, if that makes any sense at all. So yeah, just know that's where my perspective and impressions are coming from, as sort of a normie, I should say, when it comes down to, the latest and greatest devices. I didn't check out the S25. I've never even held an S25 until today when comparing it. Now, talking about my impressions of the S26, honestly, pleasantly surprised. The reason I'd say I'm surprised is because I kind of just finally understand the hype behind, I guess, the Ultra lineup. I've never having checked it out. I've only ever really checked into the iPhone Pro lineup and the iPhone Air that came out this year, mainly because I'm a creator and I primarily use Mac and Apple ecosystem when it comes down to creative works. And so I've never really checked out the Galaxy, and now I can sort of understand the hype being, I don't know, one of the more popular brands in North America. So yeah, I'm actually pretty stoked to spend more time with the 26 Ultra. But I also sort of want to give an honorable mention to just the baseline S26 because I just wasn't expecting it to be as thin and light as it is. Maybe it's not as thin as some other devices, but it was just a awesome size. Now, when it comes down to my impressions, let me just say there's probably 50 other videos for you to go check out about the Ultra lineup and all that. So I'm only gonna talk 2 or 3 points per, but starting with the build and design. The reason why the build and design sticks out to me is because I flippin' love thin and light tech. And the first thing about the 26 Ultra is I just wasn't expecting it to be as thin as it is. It's not necessarily light, which is a bit of a bummer. And that's probably the only thing I'm not too fond of, is just how big the device is. But it is pretty flippin' thin, coming in at 7.99 millimeters. Let's just call it 8 millimeters, which is quite a bit thinner than the iPhone 17 Pro, for example. And I actually picked up the S25 Ultra for the first time today. I never held one of those. So putting that next to the 26 Ultra, it was pleasantly surprising to see how much thinner it is and how well it feels in hand. Likewise as well, I'm not sure what's up with all these Pro lineups of devices, whether it's the iPhone or the OnePlus series, whatever the case is, they never like to throw in like a fun color on the Pro lineups. So kudos where it's due, Samsung, for throwing in the purple in there. There's a lot of people out there who really dig fun colors like purple. So yeah, that was bold putting it in there. I dig it. When it comes down to build and design and stuff, it truly is all coming down to personal preference, rather. I, for one, like a more rounded device, and apparently the S26, compared to the S25 at least, is a little bit more rounded. So it's supposed to be nicer in hand. Having felt them both, I can definitely say that the 26 Ultra does feel a little bit more comfortable to hold in hand. Again, I just wish it was smaller. My dream would probably be having some of these phones as being around like the 6.1 inch size. And even the 17 Pro is 6.3, the Pixel 10 Pro is 6.3. Come on, where are the 6.1s in the 6 and under? I know nobody else wants it. That's just a me thing. Me and my foolish minimal ass self. But I did also get a chance to use an S Pen for the first time, which was pretty awesome. My writing made me look like a toddler, but it was nice to have that available to me in the actual device itself. As somebody who loves my iPad mini, I'm an Apple Pencil degenerate for note-taking, journaling, coloring even, because I'm 12 apparently, and the S Pen was just pleasant to use. That's my first time checking it out, so I'm happy that it's in there. Apparently there's like 15 people who are asking if they brought back Bluetooth. I'm guessing the Bluetooth was once a feature that's no longer in the S Pen. I'm not going to use the Bluetooth features. I'm just happy to have a stylus in a phone that relatively small, I guess. Realistically as well is that I'd personally probably throw down a matte glass screen protector. That's pretty much what I do with all my devices, just because I prefer how it looks. It probably makes the displays and screens and everything look a lot worse, but I just like the way it looks and feels. So having the S Pen on a matte screen, I imagine is going to be nice and scribbly, if that makes sense. And talking about the display, actually, I thought it was going to be a gimmick when they were talking about the display with a privacy setting. And I really truly thought it was going to be a gimmick, but it legitimately isn't. When you're using it, it's easy to flip on and off, which is pretty sweet. And if you are getting any sort of incoming notifications, I don't even know if I have footage of it, actually, now that I think about it, sorry. But you can have the privacy screen, I think, just for the notification section, which is awesome. Otherwise, you can have it on the entire display. And when I tell you, I had to like film at an angle just to find the button to turn it on and off. It is very much effective. And if everybody else doesn't adopt this technology on their devices, they will fall behind. That is an excellent feature. I thought it was going to be a gimmick when they said it. It is not. It is actually pretty flippin' awesome. And I'm looking forward to actually having that come to other devices just because Samsung did it. I imagine others will. Now, talking about the camera, I love to nerd out on the camera stuff. I am a cinema buff. I love studying cinematography and messing around with camera settings. And amongst everything across the device entirely, I think my favorite thing has got to be the camera because, again, unexpected, having used the 17 Pro and the Pro lineups on, I guess even the OnePlus 15 has log. And I love to practice color grading. I'm not the best yet, but Samsung log, Galaxy log, I don't even know what they call it, but the log functions were actually surprisingly great. Now look, not everybody's going to be using log, but pretty much it takes a flat image. There's a lot more information to work in that canister of an image, and you can manipulate it to your will. You can make it more creative, artsy fartsy. You can make it look ridiculously. I'm gonna mess around with settings. I have to download either Final Cut Camera or Blackmagic Camera or Kino, which are great apps, mind you, but some people literally want to bust out the phone out of the box and just go with it. And out of any of the devices I've checked out so far, Samsung seems to have the best application. It's just all in the native app, and you just have to fumble with less, and I appreciate that. There are some creative LUTs there. I didn't get a chance to see if those LUTs can bake right into the footage, so I'm looking forward to actually playing around with that a bit. But as anybody's seen a lot of my content, I like to pretend like I'm a flippin' wannabe filmmaker. So I was just happy to see the camera settings was pretty awesome. I'm sure the S25 was probably like that too, actually, now that I think about it. But again, having seen the S26 Ultra for the first time, just pleasantly surprised. They also came out with their own Pro codec, which is pretty sweet. I'm not sure what that means, if it's going to be like a Apple ProRes sort of equivalent or a Red Raw equivalent. I can't imagine it to be like Red Raw or anything, but I want to play around with that to see how big the file sizes are and if there's actually, you know, a meaningful difference for the people who really want to stretch and pull their footage. But I'm just happy that those settings are there. If I handed my wife an S26 Ultra and said, use Samsung log with this pre-made LUT, your footage will look excellent, and it'll actually look excellent. So I'm stoked that's there. Now, the second thing that was pretty awesome to check out was the low light performance. If you guys seen any of my other content, I'm always filming in my deep, dark, dank basement where I only use lamps. I'm not even using light here. I'm just using natural light. It's all whatever, creamy and moody, whatever the hell you want to call it. But the main sensor, I believe, has an f1.4 aperture, which means it's going to just perform hella good when it comes down to any sort of low light situations. Now, I'm not a night photographer. Frankly, I'm trash when it comes down to photography. So everything I talk about is from the lens of somebody who primarily does video. So I'm looking to play around with the f1.4 aperture to see how it does in low light. There was a quick demo as well when it comes down to night photography, where it's really looks like it's just a long exposure, which is pretty sweet. But for each lens on the actual device, so the telephoto, the main lens, and the ultra wide, they each have their own sort of processing algorithm. So where some devices might, use the same denoising algorithm across all three lenses, they sort of tailored it for every single lens. So it's kind of crazy because you'll snap an image on whatever lens, and then you'll see all the noise there, and then it just vanishes. So they did a pretty damn good job. And as soon as I can do my full-on review, I'll have some examples of that. I think I'll be able to explore the city with a unit before the end of this week. If not, maybe in a week or two, I'll probably check that out. But yeah, f1.4 aperture, I'm pretty stoked to test that out. Now, performance here, I want to talk about that next, because when it comes down to performance, it's kind of hard, really. I mean, I'm using an iPhone 13 mini as my main device. Whenever I am using an iPhone, my 13 mini is my main device. And it feels fast. Now, that device came out 4-5 years ago at this point. So really, I mean, if I'm using a 13 mini, everything that I talk about performance is going to be crazy fast. Now, when it comes down to any of the latest and greatest devices, people love to sort of complain about they didn't change it much from last year. It's like, yeah, dude, obviously that phone's only a year old. The S25 Ultra is still a beast, man. How much are you gonna change it year over year? Say I went from a 13 mini to S26 Ultra, like, yeah, there's obviously going to be a meaningful difference. Again, I don't upgrade my phone every single year. Frankly, I just picked up an iPhone 17 Pro literally last week just for this trip to sort of do the whole YouTube content creation thing. I'm still trying to figure out, I guess. But just like the last 3 or 4 Galaxies, they're all probably super excellent. When it does come down to the actual chipset, they're using a Snapdragon 8 Gen 5 for Galaxy, which I'm guessing means it's a little bit more powerful, I guess, than non-Galaxy variants of that chip. But one of the main things when it comes down to using a chip like that is, again, everything's going to be performing incredible, regardless, frankly, is the best way I can put it. But really some like realistic day-to-day usages for somebody who might be using the Ultras, that you might get more battery out of it because the device as a whole is more efficient with the newer chipset. And yeah, I kind of find that badass considering the device, again, is a little bit thinner than the last year's model, if that matters to you. But they did a pretty damn good job. Now, that's the S26 Ultra. There's so much that I haven't even touched on, but these are my first impressions because those are the things I'm really interested in. The performance, battery, briefly I touched on those, camera, and some of the display stuff, and sort of just how I was sort of surprised. But there are some of the other things quickly that I do want to touch on, and that's going to be the S26 and the S26 Plus, because those ones also sort of surprised me. I'm a bit of a fanboy when it comes down to base model devices. Again, that's probably one of the reasons why I'm still using a 13 mini, because I just love how small it is, yet how powerful it is. I don't know why people seem to love to complain about certain base model devices like they aren't already insanely powerful. Besides the Ultra, my favorite device there, because it was just surprising holding hand, and I could easily main that device day to day, straight up. Out of all the Galaxies I had the pleasure of playing with today, I'd actually recommend the normal base model 26 to anybody and everybody, because that's just a straight up decent device. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Another thing I got to check out were the Buds Pro 4s, which actually sounded really flipping good. Now, on this whole trip, I've been maining my Pixel Buds Pro 2s, and those were great. Some connectivity issues, but if I haven't said it 1,000 times already, I am an absolute music degenerate. So I have a lot of physical media at home. I love my vinyl records. Music is simply a huge part of who I am. And between Samsung and the Bud Pro 4s, they have I guess a lossless codec between them. I'll try and correct this if I'm wrong, but I'm looking forward to checking out the quality between those two. So I just used them on a basic S25 Edge, and I was just using their basic Spotify, listening to some soul music, and it sounded flipping good. So I am really looking forward to checking out how the device works between the Buds and the Galaxy S26 Ultra. Likewise, I'm going to see if I can test that with some really high definition audio. So I'm looking forward to checking that out. But yeah, before I lose any more light, I'm actually headed out to go do some more festivities with a lot of the cool people that you guys probably also watch. So again, I'm pretty stoked to be here. Again, I just wanted to make a quick video of my impressions of the 26 lineup. 26 Ultra was surprisingly wild. Again, this is coming from a guy who doesn't upgrade his phone every year and who mains an iPhone 13 mini when I do use a smartphone. And man, you guys are in for a treat if you don't already own a 25 Ultra. And let me just give a blunt, full-on disclosure here. Samsung did fly me out here for this event, which I'm really grateful for, but they don't get to see this video. They don't get any say in my impressions or my review upcoming of the 26 Ultra. But I am super stoked to be here. But yeah, after Unpacked tomorrow, which I'm sure lots of you will also watch, this might be up when Unpacked goes live. I actually don't even know what time that is. I should probably look at my calendar, but I will have a lot more time with the 26 Ultra, and I'll be sure to check out and share my actual full review of that device. What I can say is that I totally feel like an imposter doing one of these embargo videos. I'm just a dude who picked up a camera 4 years ago for fun, and thanks to you guys watching, I get to do this super cool stuff. So I appreciate your guys' time clicking this video. It actually means a whole lot. Seriously, it really does. And it's wild to say, but like, don't forget the people you guys watch on the other side of your screen. Those other people are also humans who are out here just doing human things and are probably also feeling like an imposter like myself. But I just gotta say, it's so cool to be here meeting all these people who are just normal flippant people who also love tech. And it's wild to be in the same room with a lot of the people who have the same passions. Internet's wild, dude, because automatically you and I right now, whoever's watching this right now, we have the same interests, because I'm interested in the S26 Ultra and so are you. And I think that's pretty flippin' cool. Anyways, I'm flippin' rambling. Let me wrap this up. Look, did you guys know that Alcatraz is literally right here? Check out this view real quick before I wrap up. Number one, the Golden Gate Bridge is over there. The Golden Flippin' Gate Bridge. You probably can't see it because it's kind of far. I'm not that fancy. The Golden Gate Bridge is right there. But the one that surprised me is flippin' Alcatraz. That's flippin' Alcatraz right there. I thought that swim was way longer when I watched those documentaries on Discovery when I was like 10. Homeboys swam from Alcatraz. That's not that far a swim. I could do that. And then I don't know what that is over there, but some sort of hill. It looks cool. But yeah, that is where I'm at. I appreciate you guys watching to my long ass ramble. I'll check you guys on my full review. Have a good one.